Let me speak to someone who once worked at the Ministry of Works and Housing as a deputy minister. He's member of parliament for Bodi, the Honorable Sampson Ahi. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Omar.
We called you up because Saglemi came up for discussion and the president mentioned it at the launch today. And he says Saglemi was a far too expensive venture. And so government thought it is better to do what it is going to do in Pokwase. And MD of State Housing has just explained why this will be a viable and better project than what you left behind. Listening to him, listening to the president, what do you make of the two issues that are being raised now? And the fact that there's an intervention once again in the housing sector to fix the deficit?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners. What I would say is that when we were doing the Saglemi housing project, if you follow it critically, you will realize that 2 bedrooms after completion was going to cost around the same figure of $20,000. And today I heard the Minister for Works and Housing also quoting the same amount. So if anybody says that completing Saglemi was going to be expensive than what they are going to start at, what they're going to start now, I just don't understand it, because if you compare what Saglemi was going to cost against the one that is going to cost now, the prices are almost the same. And so I don't see the argument. And I think that at the end of the day, what they are going to do now will be higher than the cost of Saglemi. Because, look, last week, the Minister for Works and Housing laid the EPC agreement in Parliament for this project. So last Saturday, Works and Housing Committee were in Kufurubia to consider the request or the application. We couldn't finalize it because we demanded some further particulars. For instance, they are saying that government is going to provide land and do the off-site infrastructure that will constitute 40%. And then the developers will also contribute financial system that will also cost 60%. Now, when we met, we realized that they haven't even valued the cost of the land. So we demanded that how much is the value of the land? So that if you're saying that government is providing the land and the infrastructure as their equity in the partnership or in the public-private partnership arrangement that you want to introduce, what will be the cost of the land? What will be the cost of connecting electricity to the site? What will be the cost of connecting water to the site? What will be the cost of doing the drainage system and the sewage system? They couldn't provide the answers to these questions. And so yesterday, the minister was pushing that the report by the committee to be laid yesterday. And we insisted that not until we get answers to these legitimate questions, we're not going to do it. And so yesterday, we couldn't even lay it, let alone to move the motion. So as we speak, that demand, that application to Parliament to approve the EPC agreement has not even been laid before Parliament. The committee report has not been laid. So we are shocked today that they cast off and they're going to start construction. When you don't know the cost of other variables, that will go into the calculation with regards to how much a 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom will cost. And so today we insisted that not until we get these responses from the ministry, we are not going to. So if you realize today on the other paper, it was able to be late. And the report by the Works and Housing Committee was able to be late. And because of the absence of a response by the ministry with respect to what is the value of the land, How much will it cost to send water? How much will it cost to do the roads? How much will it cost to send electricity? We don't have response to this. So these figures that they are just throwing out there, I'm sure when we get figures, the real figures, the cost of the land and other things, it will be added to the cost, and you realize that if you are not careful, the cost will go up. And so for me, I don't think that we should have rushed today to cut the short when legitimate questions have been raised, and that is why we couldn't even lay the committee's report yesterday. And so, as we speak, the committee report is still on the order paper. It has not been laid for the report, the motion to be taken to approve the EPC agreement. So that's the situation that we have now.
This decision of Parliament, must it happen before the sword cutting happens, or the two can go together? What I'm trying to say is that, is it a must that Parliament is answered before the project carries on?
Yeah, because you have a foreign company, a Moroccan company, the Doja Promotion Group, Adoha, which is providing $56,853,000 to put into the project to do 1,006 units. This is a foreign company which needs parliamentary approval before it can commence work. And so if you don't have that approval, why do you rush and go and cut so as if the contractor is going to commence work by tomorrow?
What would you say to critics who say you are simply doing what the Akansko Ahoya, you have not succeeded in doing the project? The MD of State Housing has just explained and listed a number of areas where within the past 6 years they have started and completed housing projects, and they are very certain that they are going to carry on successfully with this one as well. And they are actually going to be led by the private sector. Why don't you just sit back and watch them do what they have to do?
Which one have they started and completed? He didn't tell you that the Asokore Mampo project, which was started by President Kufuor, when we were in office, we handed it over to Senate to work on it and complete. The phone one, we gave it to TDC to work and complete. And so which one is he talking about? Look, we know that we have a housing deficit which is more than 2 million housing units. Nobody wants to do policies with attempt to provide homes for Ghanaians. We are not going to sabotage or do anything to undermine this project. Anything that seeks to provide homes for Ghanaians, all Ghanaians must support it. But we believe that the right thing has been done. So there is nothing like Ahoya in this case. When the project is completed, it's Ghanaians who occupy them. We don't have any problem with it. And so that is not the issue. We have track record. Look, this security housing that we did in Tema, we did it. We completed the phase 1. Phase 2, we were about 90% when we left office. They only just came in and then commissioned it. You understand? And so that is not the issue. We are not against any attempt to provide homes for Kenyans because of the huge deficit that we have. But how can you tell me that you are going into partnership arrangement with the private sector and the government is going to provide land, but you don't know the cost of the land? Government is going to extend water to the site. You don't know how much it will cost you to connect water to the site. Government is going to extend electricity to the site. You don't know how much it will cost you to extend electricity to the site, but you have already concluded on how much it will cost.
Finally, it appears that Saglemi may remain where it is until I don't know when, because the State Housing Company has said it's not going to touch that project with a 12-foot pole. The problems there are enormous, it says, and so it simply remains there. We are told the government is planning to sell it off. What would be your advice on the way out? And would you agree that maybe your government miscalculated in putting up the structures there, the distance and all of those things being considered?
No, I will never say that my government miscalculate the choice of Saglemi for the affordable housing that we undertook, because, look, there was a reason for choosing Saglemi to decontest Accra. And so that was one of the reasons. Saglemi was to provide another entire community where there was going to be a school, market, police station, hospital, and other things. And so anybody who seeks to portray the fact that Saglemi project was a failure, I mean, now, if you build your house, Omari, if you build your house and you don't live in the house for 7 years, what will happen to the house? What will happen to your house?
It will rot and possibly collapse.
When you want to go back, you cannot even guarantee the structural integrity of that house anymore. You have to do a lot of work on it, and that will come at a cost. But if you have moved in 7 years ago, that additional cost that you will get to, redo the house or reconstruct or renovate the house would have been avoided. And so we should understand that leaving the place for 7 years down the line, certainly the place has deteriorated, and it will demand additional cost if you want to, rework on Saglemi, the structures.
Thank you for speaking to us. That was the Honorable Sampson Ahi. He's Member of Parliament for Bodi and former Deputy Minister for Works and Housing.